Hello everyone, welcome to this week's webinar, which is an introduction to Creo View Express. So let's look at today's agenda. So the objective of this webinar is to introduce Creo View Express. The first item that we're going to look at is going to be an introduction into PDSVISION. Then we're going to look at the digital thread, and then we're going to look at the topic itself. So we're going to look at the challenges that some of our customers that are not using Creo View or we're not using Creo View faced. And then we're also going to look at Creo View Express capability highlights. So we're not going to look at all of the capabilities, but we're just going to go over a few of those. And then we're going to jump into the live demo. And then immediately after that, we're going to go into a Q&A session. So with the questions, if you have any questions, please post them in the questions section. And then we're going to look at them at the end of just after the demo. We're going to look at those questions. I'll try and answer all of them within the time frame that we have. And then if I cannot answer them, then we can email you with those answers. Okay. All right. So a brief introduction of myself. I am Wisani Chavalala. I have 10+ years experience with PTC products. So I've been a user of those products, of the PTC products, when I was still a mechanical engineering designer. And I also have experience in implementation, in support, and also in training those PTC products. So this ranges from the Creo products, Creo View, Creo Parametric, to Windchill. And here at PDSVISION, I am a PLM specialist. So now let's look at a brief introduction into who PDSVISION is. So we are PDSVISION. Some of you might know us as Boundary Systems. So we are a technology leader. So we are the first PTC global reseller and preferred services provider. We provide consulting, implementation services, professional training, cloud hosting. So if you'd like to host your Windchill on our cloud, we provide that. We also have a help desk. So if you'd like to log a support ticket, you can log that support ticket with us. So we are also software solutions developer for design and manufacturing. So let's look at a brief timeline of Boundary System and PDSVISION. So Boundary Systems was founded in Cleveland, Ohio in the year 2006. And 2 years after that, the PDSVISION group was founded in Stockholm, Sweden. And in 2009, Boundary Systems became preferred Windchill partner. And a couple of years later, Boundary Systems in the year 2014, Boundary System expanded its global operations into South Africa. And then in the year 2018, the PDSVISION group acquired Boundary Systems. So now we trade under the PDSVISION name, right? Okay, so we also have strategic partners and solutions. So these strategic partners and solutions help in your product development and throughout your product lifecycle as well. Okay, so now let's jump into the next section, which is the digital thread concept. So when PDSVISION spoke to their customers, or we as PDSVISION spoke to our customers, we realized that there was a disconnect between the different departments. So for instance, the planning or sales department would have specific information that might be required by the production and planning department, but because this information wasn't kept or wasn't shared with the other departments, only the planning and sales department was able to see that information. And looking at that information, it could also feed into something like a concept design or the detailed design. But if it's not shared throughout the departments and it remains with the one department, that information cannot be used. So PDSVISION then went and came up with this digital thread concept. So depending on an organization's needs, we can determine which solution to suggest to address that need. So for instance, let's just say you're an organization that creates your own technical publications, you also create your own CAD, but you do not have a place to store that information, then we could look at Windchill. Or you are that company and you'd like to go into something like BOM management. So we could also look into BOM management within Windchill. And then as you see, the more you go outside, the more tools are available for you to use. Okay, so this all depends on the company's requirements. So let's jump into what we are here for today, looking at Creo View Express. Okay, so some of the challenges that we identified with our customers who are not using Creo View or Creo View Express in their organizations was that the non-CAD users were unable to provide input into the design itself because they didn't have any way of looking at the design before it was either manufactured or tested, or if it returned because there were certain issues with that particular product. So being able to view that in Creo View, you're able to make those inputs earlier on in the design. Also, the inability to view product information. So they are able to see what that particular product information is. So some of that product information is kept in either attributes or it's kept in parameters. So if they don't have the authoring CAD application, they're unable to see that information. And then inability to visualize the product itself. Sometimes as someone who works in the manufacturing department, you might get a drawing which is in 2D, but for you to visualize or imagine what that particular part looks like, you have to think in 3D. But with Creo View Express, you are able to open that 3D model and rotate it and have a look at it. So you don't have to try and visualize something from 2D in 3D. And then inability to support and collaborate with extended teams. So this tool here, which is Creo View Express, allows you to be able to collaborate with other teams as well. As an example, if you are in the production or planning department and you like to have a look at the design itself, you are able to view it using Creo View Express. Okay. And let's now jump into some of the capabilities that Creo View Express has. Okay, so one of the main capabilities or one of the main focus is that Creo View Express is free for download. So you can download it for free, and then it supports major formats. So this includes documents and also CAD. So you can also view all of the Creo View formats. So you can view PVZ, PVS, EVZ, just to name a few. You can also view Creo parametric formats. So you can view a Creo parametric drawing, you can view a Creo parametric assembly, you can view a Creo parametric part inside of Creo View Express. And for those who use Creo parametric, and also use Creo Unite, you can view the files from other CAD authoring applications such as SolidWorks, Inventor, or CATIA, only if those files are saved out of Creo parametric. So as soon as you open those files, for instance, let's say a SolidWorks part, you open it in Creo parametric, and then you save it out. It saves it with a .creo extension that allows Creo View to be able to view it. So if you're opening it in Creo Parametric, you save it in Creo Parametric, you'll be able to open it in Creo View as long as it's part of Creo Unite. You can also view illustrations which are created in programs such as IsoDraw. You can view them in Creo View. You can view 2D formats such as DWG, DXF, CGM, HPGL, just to name a few. You can also view PDF as your 2D documents. You can also view images. If you'd like a full list of the supported formats, I will show you as soon as we jump into the demonstration. There's a list where you can go and download it and see which file formats you can open. And even inside of Creo View itself, as soon as you select open, you are able to see which formats you can open. Okay. And then Creo View supports model-based definition. So you are able to see if it was created in Creo Parametric, you are able to see all of the combined states that are saved out or saved in Creo Parametric. If you opening the native Creo Parametric file, you are able to see the annotations that are saved there. You're able to see dimensions and notes from those combined states which support model-based design. Okay. You can also view parameters and metadata for the parts, drawings, or assemblies that you open inside of Creo Parametric. So some of the metadata is like the name that it's saved as, if it's saved in your local drive, and the directory that it's saved in. Okay. It also has visualization tools, so you can section your parts, your assemblies, so your 3D models, you can section those ones. You can also measure either distance, length, diameter, and all of those. So those who use Creo Parametric, the measures that you have in Creo Parametric are also available in Creo View Express. You can zoom, you can pan, you can rotate. So you can pan, you can rotate 3D models in here. You can also view animations. If animations are created, you have the ability to view them. You can view multiple views at the same time in one session of Creo View. You can also render using some of the basic render options that are available inside of Creo View Express. You can also transform components so that you can see something similar to the exploded view that you're currently seeing on the screenshot on this slide here. Okay, let's look at a quick comparison of Creo View Express with other Creo views. Okay, so this is just a basic comparison. There's a whole list of capabilities that I'll show you where to get and how to get to those ones that you can go through and see if Creo View Express is able to cover all of your needs as an organization, or you need to go up to the next level or go up to the next level after that. Okay, so one of the things that Creo View Express can't do, where the other Creo viewers can do, is to be able to connect to Windchill. So that's the one thing that it can't do. And then let's jump on to the demonstration. Okay. First, I want to show you where you can download Creo View. So if you go to the PTC site, so if you type in ptc.com, it takes you to the PTC site, and on the PTC site, there is a try and buy tab here. So when you click on it, there's an option for free trials. So if you select free trials, on the next page that comes up, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see the option for Creo View Express. And when you click on that option for Creo View Express, it'll take you to the next page where you can view some of the capabilities that it has. And if you scroll a bit down, you'll be able to see where you can download. So that download option is available there. If you go a bit further down, you'll be able to see the comparison that they have here between Creo View Lite. So if you upgrade to Creo View Lite, these are the capabilities that you get. If you upgrade to Creo View MCAD, in addition to these capabilities, you get these capabilities as well. And then when you click on the compare the Creo View version side by side, then it'll open a PDF document which gives you a comparison between Creo View Express, Creo View Lite, and Creo View MCAD. So you can go through all of those options there to see. So for instance, if we look at the 2D drawing formats, so you can see all of the 2D drawing formats that are supported by Creo View. So you can see next to the X, that is supported by Creo View Express, that is supported by Creo View Lite. But if you go a bit further down, native import of CATIA, IGES, Inventor, and so on is not available for Creo View Express. It's only available if you go up higher to Creo View MCAD. Okay. Please remember with Creo View Express, it's free. And if you go up higher to Creo View MCAD, Creo View ECAD, that requires a license. So it's a bought out license. You have to buy a license for that. Okay. Right. So if you are an administrator in your company and you already have Creo parametric files downloaded on the system and you'd like to install Creo View for the users, you are able to go to those installation files that you downloaded from PTC for Creo parametric. And when you go inside those files and inside the install folder, the add-on folder, and then you get the PVX 32_64 folder. So inside that folder, you find the Creo View Express setup in there. Okay, so you can install it from these files as well. All right, let's jump into Creo View Express. Let's have a look at what it looks like. So with each and every Creo viewer, whether it's Creo View Express, Creo View Lite, Creo View MCAD, Creo View ECAD, or Creo View Standard, at the top, it lets you know which Creo View you currently have open. As soon as you open it, it lets you know which one you have open. So at the moment, I have Creo View Express open. So it tells me at the top. And in Creo View Express, I am able to open. So as soon as I select that open, I am able to see the file formats that Creo View Express can open. So it's from Creo View, Creo Parametric, Creo Unite, all of these ones here. I can also open PDFs if that's what you need to do, open PDFs. But for now, I like to open a Creo Parametric part. So I'm going to open the native part. So this is the part that's currently saved on my C drive. So I can open that. So as soon as I open it, so you'll see with the part, as soon as I open it, it displays the part. And if we go slightly to the left, it displays what the name of this part is. And it's easy for me to go and zoom out of this, zoom in, rotate it. I can also pen this, move it from side to side, and seeing that this part that I have here is a part that has or supports model-based design. If I go to the viewable tab on the tree there, I am able to see what models it has on it. I can also, if it had any annotations, I'd be able to see those annotations here. And if it was an assembly, I'd be able to see the structure for that assembly. And it also shows the preview for that particular model. Okay, so I want to open another model here, which is a PVZ. So this is a Creo View file format. So when I open that, you'll see that it also has dimensions. So these dimensions that you're currently seeing here were not created in Creo View itself. They were created in Creo Parametric using MBD model-based design, and then saved as a PVZ. And if I go to the Viewables tab here, I am able to see the different combined states that are available or were saved or were created in Creo Parametric. So I can go through the different combined states to see. This is the default page that gives me all of the information about this particular part, and the next one as well. I can go through all of this. There's the title, and there's one with properties, there's one with nodes, and I can also see one with geometric tolerancing on it, and then one that focuses on that circle here or those holes on there where the bolts are supposed to go. And I also have all of this information. So with all of this information here, I am able to go and make the machining bits that I need to do. I can go and machine the surfaces, make them flat according to that information. I can go and also drill the holes that are specified there because I have the dimensions that I need to do that. So this means that I can also do away with using paper. If it's what my company is looking at, I can do away with using paper and just solely rely on the 3D model. Okay, right. So with this and all of the annotations, I can go and rotate this as well. Okay, let's look at this in terms of a bigger assembly. So we'll go to the next session. So I have this motorbike here, which is an even bigger assembly compared to that part, which is this part here that I had opened earlier to show you. So as soon as you select a particular part or a particular component inside of Creo View, it also highlights it on the left-hand side on the model tree itself. It highlights it. So if I select this one, it expands, and it highlights this particular part, which is that one there. So if I wanted to know what the parent of this part is, I am able to do that. So if I go to the structure tab, I can go and specify that I want to select the parent. So I'll select the nearest parent, which is that one. But I can even go higher and select, say, select common parent, and it also goes higher, and select common parent, and then select common parent again. And if I go back to the structure and I want to go higher than that, I can also say select parent, which selects the entire engine assembly. So if I want to see this engine assembly on its own, I have multiple options. One of the options is to open it in a new view. So this goes and creates a new view. So I can go to the engine itself and I can interrogate it. I can interrogate the engine and have a look at the engine. And if I need to zoom to a specific component in the engine, like for instance, if I need to see what that screw looks like, I have the option of zooming to selected. So I can right click and select zoom to selected, which brings in that screw. So I'm able to see that screw. And once I've seen that screw and interrogated it, I can zoom all just to ensure that everything fits back into the screen. And once I am happy with seeing the engine and seeing all of the parts on the engine, I am able to go back to the other view, which is of the motorcycle itself. And I can also open multiple views. So as I did with the engine, I can go to another subassembly and have a look at that subassembly and open it in a different view. And with those views, I'm able to see them side by side. So since I only have two open at the moment, I can open multiple views, but I just need these two for now. I can say that I want to view them side by side. And as I'm viewing them side by side, I'm able to change the orientation of this view here, like for instance, view the bottom of the motorcycle, and on the other side, I can view the top of the engine, just like that, okay? And I can rotate this and also change the view of that. And once I'm done with the multi-view screen, I can switch back to a single screen, which is the motorcycle. Okay, and that's one of the ways of seeing a component or seeing a subassembly on its own. Another way of doing that is, for instance, if I look at the suspension and I just want to view the suspension on its own without the rest of the assembly, I have the option of isolating that subassembly. So I can click on it, isolate it, and then zoom all. And another way of zooming is by just double clicking or double left clicking on the screen. That will bring back up that subassembly, and I can go and interrogate it if I need to interrogate it. And once I'm done with the interrogation, I can go and show all of the hidden or unhide all. I can either do it from the ribbon up at the top, or I can do it from the right click menu, which brings back the entire motorcycle, and can just select and hide that. Okay, so let's just say just looking at this assembly here of this motorcycle, and I just need to move certain parts around, maybe to create an exploded view and just have a look at that exploded view. I have the option of doing that. So let's just say want to take that entire assembly there. I can transform it. So that transform option, it gives me the ability of taking a specific component or subassembly and then moving it out of the way. Maybe I want to interrogate this section here and then see what is happening in that particular section. So I have the ability of doing that. Once I've interrogated it and I'm happy with my interrogation, I can restore the location to original. So this brings back that fork assembly to the original position. Yeah. All right. So you also get different render modes. So you can specify any of these render modes here. For instance, if I just want to see this particular assembly in that render mode, I am able to see that. I can also switch between those different render modes. And I understand that people, when you mention render, they're thinking adding color to a part, adding the different, but these are the capabilities that you get with Creo View Express. As you go higher into Creo View MCAD, Creo View ECAD, and so on, you are able to add that color to the different components. Yeah, right. So I'm just going to return this to shaded. So this bike is shaded at that point. And let's look at the next tab. But before we go on there, let's go back to our engine assembly. So this is the engine assembly. Let's just say you want to measure certain things on the engine assembly itself. Maybe you like to measure how far certain points are from each other. You use the markup tab to be able to do that. So in the markup tab, I'm able to measure distance. For instance, if I want to have a look at the distance from that surface there, so the first click selects the component that I want to measure from or select a reference from, and the second one is to select the actual reference. So I want to check the distance from that side to here. So what it will do is that it will create a direct distance there, but then you have additional options where you can go and specify which plane to use. If you have a coordinate system, which coordinate system to use. So you can specify use plane, and then when you use plane, it gives you that minimum distance there. So it gives you that distance between those two over there. And then if you want to measure things such as diameter, so just going to remove all of those references. Just want to measure the diameter of this particular part here. I am able to do that, and it gives me what that particular diameter is. And let's just say you'd like to measure an angle between two surfaces. You are able to do that. So let's just say from the surface itself here and that surface over there, I like to see what the angle is. So it does give you the value of the angle, which is that one there, and you are able to leave that value or the measure shown. So I can say that I want to keep that measure there, and I want to continue measuring. So if you want to measure the length of something, there's also that capability there. So I want to measure the length of this particular edge over here. I want to see how long that particular edge for this nut is. It gives me that, and I can go and save this as well. So you can interrogate your CAD model, and you also have the option of selecting the summary. So summary gives you the best measures for your particular reference. The reference that you selected, it'll give you the measures that are applicable to that that reference that you selected. Like for instance, if I go back here and select that, you'll see that it'll give me the value of the diameter, the length. It'll give me, if there is an angle, the starting angle. It'll give me the end angle. It'll also give me the center. So if I had selected a surface, it would give me, for instance, let's just do that. Select the surface instead of an edge. So you'll see with the surface, it gives me the diameter, it gives me the area, it gives me the perimeter, it also gives me the height as well. So it gives you all of the measures that are applicable to your selection. So I'll say I want that kept. And the nice thing with this is that you can also move your measures around so that it's easier to see the measure and the reference. Okay, all right, and then you can also add things like notes with leaders, so or just a plain note without a leader. So I'm going to select a note with a leader, and that's going to be my reference. And this annotation dialog box comes up, and we could say, please check could add a note like that. And you also have the ability to format the note itself. Okay, you can specify the shape that's around the note. You can specify the font size. You can specify the color for the note, so you can change it to red, for instance. You can also specify the background color if you want there to be a shape. If you don't want there to be a shape, you just want the note on its own like that. You can also specify the leader for the arrow and specify what you need it to look like. You can specify the line width for that arrow. You can also specify the line style. Okay. You can also specify or change references. So if I want to swap out references, I don't want to use this one, but I'm referring to that one. You can swap out those references as well. Okay. You can also add shapes. Maybe you'd like to highlight a specific area. You can also add shapes to that specific area. So let's just say we want to add it there. There is the rectangle that I've added around that area. Or maybe you'd like to do it freehand, which is also possible. You can also do it freehand. You can go and specify a specific area freehand, just like that, to show that this is an area of concern. And you can also add geometric tolerances. So if you need to add geometric tolerances, you can add them. The dialog box comes up. You can specify what geometric tolerance you're looking for, and then the tolerance value or tolerance itself. You can go and specify all of that. Okay, so since with Creo View Express, it allows you to go and create all of these annotations. It allows you to go and create all of these measures, but it doesn't allow you to save these annotations and measures. The only way to keep these annotations and measures is to either take a screenshot of these annotations and measures, or to print out this particular view that we have on the screen. Okay. And once you've created this, you have an option of deleting. You can select one by one and select the delete on your keyboard, or you can select one annotation, go to the annotation tab, and then delete all of the annotations that you've created. And that leaves you without those annotations. Okay, let's look at the next tab, which is the sectioning tab. So with the sectioning tab, you are able to section your assemblies or your 3D components and have a look at them. So we're going to say that kept view, and you can select the actual plane for it and then move the plane if you need to move it. You can also change the direction of the section by selecting any of those options there. So you want it in the Y direction, you are able to do that, set it in the Y direction. If you press Control on your keyboard, it also shows you a ruler, and that ruler shows you the direction that that section is going to go. You can also change it to another axis. So let's go to the y-axis, so I can move it in the y-axis as well. You also have an option. If you click at the bottom of the setup, there's a little arrow for properties where you can go and specify how you'd like to section your assembly or your component. So I want to select a specific reference, for instance. So that is my reference that I want to select. So I just want to select that surface over there and make that my reference. And you can go and specify the values for X. So if you want to rotate it around the X, you can do that, which continues to section it around the X axis. You can also specify the translational values. So if you want to move it along the X, let's just say by 100, for instance, you can also do that. And if you also don't want to see the surfaces or the cut geometry kept, you have an option there. So it looks a bit hollow. So if you zoom into it, you'll be able to see that now it looks hollow with the kept option deselected. So with the kept option selected, it looks as if it's closed at the end there. Okay, so with sections as well, same as annotations and measures, you are not able to save this section, and the only way to keep it is to either take a screenshot or to have a printout. You are not able to save it. If you want to save it, if you want to save the annotations and sections that you create inside of Creo View, you'll have to move up higher to either Creo View Lite, Creo View MCAD, or Creo View ECAD to be able to save any sections that you create or any annotations that you create. Okay, so just going to delete that annotation. If you have any animations that are available, you are able to go and play those animations. Unfortunately, for this demo, I do not have an animation to play for you. And then just jump back to the Home tab. So within the Home tab, you're also able to filter certain components. Let's just say I want to filter components, and the only thing that I'd like to see on the tree here is all of the parts that end with that 248 or have 248 in their name. So I can do a filter, and then you can specify to only show visible parts, so only show visible parts on here, or you can specify that you want specific part names. So as I said, I want 248, and as soon as I select OK, you'll see that it only shows the ones with 248 at the end, or with 248 as part of their name. So we need to expand this to be able to see those ones. Just expand that and expand that and expand that. You'll be able to see that there aren't any 248s in here. They're only up here. That's why it has that green check next to it. So these are the ones that have 248. And with these ones, I can select all of them and just say isolate. And it just shows me those screws that are available there. Okay, so if you need to remove the filter, just uncheck, select OK, and that filter is removed. And if you want to show the engine again, you can just right click and select unhide, then it shows our engine again. Okay, right, you also have in the display options, you also have filters where you can go and specify how you'd like your background, for instance, to be displayed, what you'd like displayed. Like for instance, you can go and specify that for this particular model, I don't want any solids displayed. I only want to see surfaces and cosmetics. So as soon as we apply, it'll show us the surfaces and cosmetics. But if you want to see solids as well, you can add those solids. You can also specify which Creo View markups you'd like to see and wouldn't like to see. So if you would like to see the X's, measures or annotations, you can uncheck those ones here. And if you'd like to see model construction geometry, so this comes from the model itself, and you've exported things like datum axis, datum planes, datum points, you are able to show them here. In addition to that, you're able to change the flow. So you can specify that I want to display the flow, and you can specify in which direction that flow is displayed. So as soon as I say apply there and select OK, you can see that the flow is displayed in the z-axis. So there is my flow displayed, and it has a checkerboard there. So if I don't want it displayed in the z-axis, I can go back to my flow and specify that I want it in the x-axis and soon as I do that, you can see it in the x-axis, and you also have options of going and specifying which color the floor is. You can also specify whether you want the grid to be a checkerboard, or you just want it to be lines, or you don't want any grid at all. So if we remove the grid and just specify that the background color that we want is gray, and I select OK, you can see that my background color or my floor has changed to gray. So that floor has changed to gray. I can also change things like color. So when the shaded view is selected, what sort of background do I want? When the wireframe view is selected, what sort of background do I want? I can go and specify that. I can also go and specify which units to use. I can select that I want to use the same units that I used in the original file, or I want to use the units that I select myself. So if I wanted to change the units here for length to inches, I am able to select inch there. And for mass, if I want it to be pound, I am able to select that there. For density, there are a couple of options that I have. And for ECAD length as well, we don't have ECAD imported or opened at the moment, but you can also go and specify which units it should use. Okay. So you also have an option of resetting the defaults. You can reset it for that particular section, whether you want to reset it for units or text or whichever section you have, or you want to reset all of the sections. So as soon as I say OK, apply, you'll see that the floor is no longer there. So the floor is hidden and the background is back to being white. Okay. All right. So you also have options for selections. So there are a couple of options for selection. So if you want to select an item, you can either go directly and select that item there, or you can use the box selection. So with the box selection, depending on where you start the box, if you started from the top and you go down, only the items that are fully inside that box will be selected. So all of those items, even the items on the inside of this engine, are selected. But then if you create the box from the bottom right to the top left, then it selects everything, even the things that get intersected. So that's why it selects all of that there. Okay. All right. So that's it for today's demonstration. I just want to check if we have any questions. Okay. All right, let's jump to the question section. Just want to check if we have any questions here. All right, so we have a couple of questions. Okay, so does Creo View support step files or CAD part? So with step files and CAD parts, you have to go up to Creo View MCAD. In Creo View MCAD, yes, you can open step files and CAD parts, but then with Creo View Express, you're not able to open step files. CAD parts, you can only open them if they're converted into or added into Creo Parametric first and then saved out, so that they are able to be opened in Creo View Express. Is this software a 30-day trial only? So with Creo View Express, it's not a trial. This software, you download it, you can use it forever as long as it addresses your needs. But then if you want to open things like step file, CATIA, SolidWorks, and Inventor files, then you'll have to go up and purchase a license to be able to open those files. Okay. So the next question is, with MCAD, when I create a PDF of a file that component sometimes comes in very light. Okay, how can I get the image to have darker lines in the PDF copy? Okay, so with this one, can I please answer it separately since we are not looking at Creo View MCAD? So there's a question about creating a PDF from Creo View MCAD. So I'll answer that separately. I'll send you an email and then we can talk around that. Okay, so there's another comment here. Try to download in the PTC page, but all I get is the 30-day trial option. I'm just wondering, was this for Creo Parametric or was this for Creo View Express? Because if it was for Creo View Express is completely free. It's not a trial. But with Creo Parametric, since that is a CAD authoring tool, and if you'd like to download it and trial it out, that is a 30-day trial. Okay. If there aren't any more questions, we'll go to the next session. So we have training capabilities. So we can do training virtually. So we can do it virtually for the people who are in other parts of the world and cannot get to our training centers. We also have in-center training. So we have training centers that are available in North America. So if you can make it to those training centers, you can get the training. And we also have on-site training. So if you'd like us to come into to your office and then offer the training, we are able to do that. So if you like training, please visit our website on PDSVISION.us, or you can use the following, which is the sales questions, and then just on sales at PDSVISION.us, just send an email saying that you looking for specific training, whether it's for Creo View or any other products from PTC that you've seen us present. And if you have any technical questions, please feel free to reach out to me. There is my email address. Please also visit our YouTube page. This video will also be posted on that YouTube page. Right. Thank you very much for attending today's webinar. Enjoy the rest of your day.